We're going to be doing two parts. The first part is the drawing automation tool that we spoke about earlier. There's a lot of hype, so I hope it lives up to it. We're very excited for it. And I just want to share that Wian played a crucial role in the development thereof. Some of you might recall about 2 years ago, we started talking about it, but the logic behind building something like that is incredibly complex. Even though it looks very simple, the complexity behind it is immense. And Wian, thank you. That is why Wian is also behind the driver's seat for us today. We will be talking about two topics today. First is the drawing automation tool, and the second one is components and engine, finishing off with a question and answer session. But feel free during the presentation to put your hand up and ask questions. Everyone spoke about drawings earlier. Someone referenced 50% of our time. Edith referenced 60% of our time spent on drawing creations. We actually went and did a little bit of study on this and found that 30 to 50% of our time is spent on drawing creations, with typically 15 to 30 minutes per model. That's a lot of time. And on top of that, 60% of that requires reworks because of miscommunication, of not giving through the information that is required by said drawings. Why is drawing so complicated? It's because of the complexity of assemblies. We have assemblies that has parts, sheet metal parts, weldments. It has imported items. It has item reuse. Certain parts in this subassembly be used there and now. When do I create that and what information do I put on the drawing? Very quickly it becomes complex in nature. So we're going to first start with our first poll. Question is, how much time per week do we spend on drawing creation? So we're just testing and validating our previous claims. So what we can see there is that almost 50%, rough calculations, 50% say more than 10 hours per week. So from this room, a quarter of us spend more than 1 day in a week creating drawings. Okay, so our next question. So what is taking the most of our time? This will be interesting because it's normally all three of them. This is very interesting information for me because I would guess that the 10 people are the ones, the 11 people are the ones that work with incredibly big assemblies that has the BOM information there. And who wants to be brave and say from those people, do they regularly look for bill of material, that little balloon that is misplaced? That is typically where that goes into. Typical sheet metal drawing. What does that involve? It involves your 4 standard views in bent format, and then additionally to that, your flat pattern information with your bend views and your thickness that is related to that with its bend annotations and its thickness. Secondly to that, we have our non-sheet metal items that also has those same standard views with a front view, a top view, a side view, and an isometric view. But as we all know, it doesn't have flat pattern because there's no flat pattern of non-sheet metal items. That is typically our weldments. It is imported parts. It is machined items in a reductive fashion or an additive fashion, those that use those modeling practices. And finally, the annotations that we refer to. So, what does a typical assembly drawing include? So, here we have again the same views. We have exploded views if they are applicable to us in whichever orientation that it is that we're looking at. Bill of materials, I'll get back to that one shortly. And ballooning and annotation. We have 3 main bill of materials that we work with. So we have a very small assembly. That is one that all of the information can typically fit on one page. It is something with 5, 6, 7 components, and you just want to show that information. So that's category number 1. Category number 2 is the one where the bill of material becomes quite large, where it consumes the entire first page, where you start with your views on your second page. And then on top of that, you can start with isometric views on your second page, and then thirdly, you can have your standard views on the next page. That's the second category. And then the third category is for extremely large assemblies, where your BOM can span 5-6 pages, and then only after that do you start with your views. So Wian is going to switch over for us, and this is where I'm going to ask, how long would it take you to create the drawings for all of those items? 341 of them. I want a hand. I want 3 hands. First hand. 2 weeks. Sorry? A month. 2 weeks. So we are in between 2 weeks and 4 weeks. Sorry? 4 to 6 weeks. No, my man, you lost the plot. I think that man needs a bottle. He needs some water. He's overeating. Drum roll is 43 minutes. 43 minutes. And if we take out all of the common items, it has the intelligence built in, we'll talk about that just now, of excluding fasteners. That 341 includes fasteners. If we strip that out, we're looking at about 25 minutes. 25 minutes to process that. Okay? So, this is a recording because unfortunately it is so fast, I cannot show you the things that I want to show you while it is running. So we just recorded this yesterday, I think, just to showcase this and to be able to pause. So I am going to pause it during it. First, I'm going to just talk a little bit about the settings and what we've built in. So just for everyone, this is not AI, this is API that we developed with artificial intelligence. Why is that important? If we don't get our data sets ready, Edith spoke previously about data and being data-centric, data being our assets. If our data aren't clean, I cannot automate it for you. I cannot. We looked at a customer's file set in the week with testing this out. They were still doing manual ballooning of manually filling in the information in the balloon. I cannot help you. I cannot. Yeah. So, the reason why I say that is, we can help you prepare for AI to get you ready for when that hits us, that we are ready, that the information is consistent, it's the same, it is repetitive, it looks the same, and that can also help train our AI bots, because that is where we're heading. If we like it or not, if you want to be left behind, try and not go on that train. It is coming for us and it's coming fast. And each day it's coming closer at a more rapid pace. So first of all, we have our settings there. I'm just going to stand a little bit closer. It's very small there. We have our sheet metal information in there with a flat pattern, the model dimensions for parts the same, and moving over to assemblies, just pause for me. There you can see that first setting is where it actually splits it over multiple sheets. So that is where it says, okay, if I have my bill of material that's large, and I want a big isometric view on my next page, that is what that option is for.
A customer faulted of ours that we were given permission to show. So this is not a
Yes.
This is not a jumbo. This is actually a production type trailer that's used on the road.
Yes, correct.
Not a. We didn't modify this in the chat. It's a live production.
Correct. Correct. Yes.
One question. Do you now save all of this in one folder, or does it save?
Just for everyone on that question, because this is something that we control, we can custom develop it for whatever your needs is. So if you have a thing where, yes, I want the third page to be one-to-one scale without any drawing sheets on there, because we use that for our DXF export for one-to-one migration, we don't use the PDM tasks, we can build that. So If there's custom tweaking that you want, or I want it to be switched around, the isometric view must sit left top corner or something like that, we can build all of that. That's not a problem. This is to show the fundamentals of what the tool does. Okay, so following this, rebuilding in SOLIDWORKS. So I want someone to take a guess. We spent quite a large amount of time running a diagnostic tool through assemblies of our customers. And all that does is it optimizes settings. So every setting that Edith and Quentin, even long before my time, have been sharing on the stage about what is the newly enhanced options and everything that's ready inside of SOLIDWORKS. All it does is it sets all of that settings and it rebuilds the assembly and its drawings in the correct order from the bottom up. And don't rebuild the same thing twice, because then you have rebuild errors inside of PDM that makes everyone crazy. So the question is, and this person also gets a bottle, what is the range of speed improvement that we typically got with only doing that? Percentage. I have one, but it needs to be the correct answer. 70%. Okay? Next person. 43%. 50%. 35. I want a range. It's not like spot on. 75 and 80? That's a lot. Okay, I think we have a couple. I'm going to give it to him and to the sir here. So Pierre, if you can give those two. Between 20 and 50%. That is the amount of speed improvement and stability by doing nothing other than rebuilding. That's it, nothing else. And that feature that he just clicked on, we're not going to show it today just because it runs very long if you run it over a big assembly. That feature has all of that already built in. We already built it in. You click on the main assembly, it goes and it figures out all of the logic and puts it in an array and switches it, the logic top to bottom, and then rebuilds it from the bottom up with the respective drawings if that is required. Also for the people that work over networks, file references flying all over, that can help with it. It can't replace it, but it will make your assembly more stable because in the new location, it is now rebuilt with those references. Yeah, next. So next we're going to move on to our admin side. So that is typically where we specify where things must be split. So if you can just pause for us there a moment. So this is where it splits between when is it a very large assembly, when is it that one that just needs to go into the second page, and the first one is just on one page, and then finally all the templates. Someone asked earlier if the SOLIDWORKS AI bot can work with various templates. There we can see the templates is built in. The next one is the skip logic. So we spoke about the common items. It has skip logic on specific folders, as well as specific custom properties. So if you have a custom property called stock item for all your stock items that you don't want to generate drawings for, that is where this will be done, as well as specific folders where that folder is left out. Okay, next we're going to move into how it actually runs. So Wian can move over. It's going to say create. I'm going to give it a moment for everyone to just take in. So first it's going to start with sheet metal. After sheet metal, it will do weldments, auto scaling, fitting it to the sheet. If it has dimensions where it is bend dimensions that are the same around a symmetrical axis, it actually puts in typical and removes all the unnecessary bending data. Okay, so there we could see it runs through the weldment items. And by the way, this works with structural elements, as Edith previously said. Another question. Is a weldment profile and a structural element profile the same thing? First person to give me the correct answer.
Yes.
So for whoever has weldment profiles, the weldment profile is the same profile as you use in a structural element. We did some research on that to make sure that it is, and it works with the same APIs if you want to integrate that. Okay, so next we're going to move on to our assemblies. I want you to pay attention to the right top hand corner just below the bill of materials. So we spoke about ballooning. What this does, it actually goes and calculates what balloons is not on this specific piece of page that I have in front of me. So that is something that sits behind, or the views that I have on the page cannot typically pick that up. We built in the intelligence that it goes, balloons everything on this page, then goes to the next page, then tries and balloons everything that it can find on view 1, then it goes to view 2, view 3, view 4, and in that process trying to get through all of the ballooning in that process. And in the end, it says to you, these 5 items I cannot get in the views that you have presented to me. Then, you know, section views, detail views, or hidden views, that is your next prerogative. Wian can start it for us. There you can see on the right top hand corner, all of those balloons aren't visible in here. There's a lot of parts, by the way, of this that's on the back hand side. If he runs it in the next views, you will see the balloons are in the next sheet. So there's a lot less balloons in the right top hand corner for the next views. So the fortunate thing with this is it requires that you don't really model in a specific way. But remember, as John Paulo said earlier, garbage in, garbage out. So if your model is extremely dirty, it's going to give that dirty information back to you. So the cleaner your model is, the better your modeling practices, just with the same modeling standard. It has no problem, it has no issue with using various ones. So currently, we did not build in exploded views because that is specific to each company's unique needs. Some companies use a lot of exploded views. Can we build it in? Yes, and we can build it exactly how you want it to say, this is my exploded views position, I want it in isometric view, or I always want it in top view, or figure out in which view it is. We can do that. Currently, it's not built for that. So the question is for everyone, is that if you have multiple configurations, what happens? What happens? So currently, it's not built to work with multiple configurations because we have a policy, and it is currently being reinforced by Dassault as well, one body, one item, one number, which is basically saying try to stay away from configurations. But if your need is that you use configurations, it is very easy to build in. We tested about 10,000 drawings, and we had an average processing time of 10 seconds. Large assemblies takes longer, single part takes quite a bit faster. That is 90 times faster than what a person can do it. Is it perfect? No, by no means. You still need a person to go through it. You still need someone to approve it for revisioning. So don't assume that the person created the model, created everything in there. Okay, go on to the next slide. So, first of all, our engineers and designers can focus on innovation, as was mentioned earlier. 10 seconds per file relative to 15 minutes per file. We are preparing for artificial intelligence. We can help you with that. So this is one tool. I can tell you a lot about other things that we're working on as well, of data cleaning and preparing for that. But if you're not preparing for getting your information ready for AI, you need to hunker down. It's going to come for us. And in the end, all of this does is it improves our productivity and our return on investment, letting you focus on what makes you money. So the question is very simple. Do you sell spare parts to your customers? Typically, we do that with static PDFs. You email one that way, you email one that way, someone picks up the phone, and part identification is an issue because this guy bought 10 machines over 10 years from us and he calls them all the same thing, and just gives me a krill. So it is a huge administrative workload on our side, and it puts customer frustration, and it causes delays in the end. So what is Components Engine? Components Engine in a nutshell is a 2D and a 3D interactive parts catalog that allows your customers to interact with your models if you have models available. It has e-commerce in, and what it does is it shifts the burden of part identification from your team to your customer. That is the main thing that it does. So, it allows us to maximize our data flow, optimize our resources, because we don't have 30 salespeople answering phones trying to identify what files are the ones that is required now and what revision is required. If you don't adhere to form, fit, and function engineering change rules. And after all of this combined, it leads to increased after-sales sales turnover. That is what this does. So it comprises of 4 main components. IPC, that stands for Interactive Parts Catalog. That is the 2D and the 3D engine. The 2D engine basically takes PDFs, DXFs, DWGs, and PDFs and creates an interactive vector-based graphic for you to interact with. The 3D side uses a step file as well as your bill of material that needs to be connected to that. So step file and PDF, DXF, DWG, and PDFs. The plus side is where your additional documentation is here. By show of hands, how many people uses Composer or writes manuals that goes with their products? The Plus portal is for that. So that is where you upload all of your videos. Say you have a shock that you want replaced. That is one that we're just going to show, a shock that needs to be replaced, and you have a video of someone actually replacing that. You can upload that information that is available to that customer. Third to that is your claims section. That's pretty self-explanatory. I'm not going to say too much about that, where you have warranty claims and spare parts claims. And finally, the integration landscape. We spoke about ERP just now. This is fully integratable with any CRM, ERP system that you require integration with. So Wian is going to switch to Components Engine for us. So, starting off with the login page. So, we just built this one for us. It has gated content. So, you can either have it that it is open, like Takealot. We all use Takealot, where it's open. We just need to log in with your details. Or, you can have that specific for a specific customer that says they bought these 3 machines and they can only see these 3 machines. The other customer that bought 5 different ones, they can only see those 5. So it's gated content with access control to what level it is that you want. You can have both ends of the spectrum. In here we have a 2D and a 3D environment that we just spoke about. Wian is going to go to the 2D environment and just show us. We have loaded 3 products there from previous What's News. So Wian, if you can open the first one for us. There you can see once he hovers over a balloon, it interacts at the bottom that can be actually uploaded to the cart. So Wian, if you can select one for us and just add it to our cart. It is intelligent enough to remember what is already added, and all of those properties that you see there on the left-hand side, that can be customized to you. We just selected random ones, but you can have part, name, number, etc. So that is that. We're going to go into the second one. And there we can do the same, just to show that. And Wian, if you can just zoom in for us to show that it is a vector graphic, that the quality doesn't distort if you zoom in. So that information is there as well, with navigation going left and right. The 2D environment kind of looks like a very fancy drawing. The 3D one is where the magic starts. So moving over to the 3D side, we have 2 there. So those of you that's been a customer of MECAD long enough can remember the gripper assembly. That was also one that was demoed, and we have our shredder. This loads that entire assembly. It is graphical information. It is not the model itself. So there you have that model. You have the model in there. It's fully interactive. You can move the seat. You can remove items from there. But your customer does not have your IP. They don't sit with your actual file. So that's a graphical representation, even though it doesn't look like it. They can't get any of the information from there. They can't measure. So for now, Wian is going to drill down for us on that shock, that little red one there. So say our customer wants to order that. You can see there, you drill down into the various assemblies until you get to the one that you want, while being able to rotate it still, even in this configuration. You can even, someone asked about exploded views. There is functionality in this that can automate explosions, but then it is automated. It explodes everywhere. It doesn't give you the neat lines. So Wian's going to add that to us now. And we set this up so that all 6 shocks must be ordered at the same time. So you can have rules built in to say, at 100 hours, I need to replace this. At 200 hours, I need to replace this. All of that intelligence can be built in here. And there's a full whole data analytics section for what customers ordered what parts, when, how many times was this part ordered by those customers. All of that information is in here. I'm going to move over to the Plus portal, which is the documentation setting, just showing you where a PDF and a file is typically uploaded. Wian is going to just show us the PDF side first. Sorry, Wian. Sorry. Oh, let's just move. Oh, there it is fast now. So if you are in, like Niels, you're sitting in the middle of nowhere and you want to actually have a PDF version of this, it can build various sub-assemblies. We just set it so that the main assembly is displayed and then all of the bill of materials is underneath that. So here you can see a PDF and a YouTube video that we just linked to this just to showcase it. It has full search functionalities, those that use PDM. It has the quick search functionality as well as detailed search functionality. And there, if Wian searches there for shock, you can see that once he searches for it, it can also be grouped because we have various assemblies that use something that has shock in. So by using the filters at the top, you can actually now say to what machine or to what item it is applicable. From there, you also get an e-commerce platform. The e-commerce is very nice. That is where you can take a photo of something. We took some photos of random items in the office just to showcase that this can be used. So you can have a photo, and then it's like your own personal take-a-lot for yourself. Again, add to cart, everything works in here. Finally, moving on to the cart. And in the cart, it works like your general check-in. There is 2 main options with everything in between. You can either have the set up that once you can just go through the motion while I talk. It can either, upon ordering, it can either send yourself and your customer an email, just basically paper confirmation of the order was placed. Or if you want to go as far, you can integrate this with your ERP that it actually opens a work order for you on your ERP system if that customer has the correct access control and rights that you want to be assigned. So there, Wian has assigned that to me, and if he checks that out, it places the order with us. Thank you very much, everyone.
Good.
Have a blessed day.
Thank you, Alan.
Thank you.